also the instructor, Delonte, definitely make sure that any questions that you have does not go unanswered. Very genuine, very transparent, and really loves what he does. And that's one thing that I look for in a mentor.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
Sharing what he's learned with others by hosting courses on investment strategies.
To be able to pass that knowledge on to other people, it makes me feel like, I'm doing something that's valuable in life.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
First thing I want to let y'all know is you can start a trading account with as little as $10, all right? And if you're not greedy and trying to get into this and try to make a whole bunch of money really fast, you would understand that even getting into it with $10, maybe you may not make a lot of money, but you can begin to learn the markets with some skin in the game.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
But what this lesson is about is, like I said, for the working person. You do not have to be in front of the computer to actually participate in the foreign exchange market. Did y'all know that? Did you know you don't have to actually press buttons to participate in the foreign exchange market? You don't always have to be in front of the screen.
This broadcast is brought to you by Bold People Get Rich. For more investing knowledge, be sure to visit www.bpgrinc.com.
Welcome to Markup Mondays, where every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we analyze the financial markets, educate the community on trading and investing, discuss world news and popular topics. I'm your host, Delonte Brady, Chief Analyst and six-figure earner with Bold People Get Rich, and here are some things you need to know about this broadcast.
During the market analysis portion of this call, we often find areas in the market to trade or make our investments. To be updated on these entries, exits, and trade management, make sure you tap the 3 dots on my Facebook page and change following to favorites. This way, you'll never miss an update. To receive investment knowledge, exclusive deals, and updates, click the link tree in my bio and subscribe to our mailing list. If you're viewing this broadcast on YouTube, to be kept up to date, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. This is an event made for the people, by the people, and we love to hear your feedback and answer your questions during the show. So please feel free to comment as often as you like. Lastly, all forms of investing do involve risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Increasing leverage increases risk. Before deciding to trade in any financial market, you should carefully consider your financial objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. Any opinion, news, research, analysis, price valuation, or other information contained in this video does not constitute investment advice. No person or persons in this video is a financial advisor. Welcome to Markup Mondays, everybody. My name is Delonte Brady, a chief analyst with BPG, our investment strategist. And we do this every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just analyze the markets, right? We analyze the markets, educate the community on trading and investing. We go over world news, and then we go over the charts, right? So if you're tuning in, if you can hear me loud and clear, if the audio is good, if the video is good, go ahead and drop some flames in the chat. Let us know where you calling in from, what city you calling in from, and drop a pair that you would like me to go over. So the first thing we always go over is news, right? Or we review last week and then we go over news, but nothing happened last week. We had some sell areas that never got hit. The market kind of just fell. And so we can jump right into going over news and what's going on in the world. So the first thing we're going to check is myfxbook.com. This is strictly for the foreign exchange market. So this is going to give us all the news that we need for the foreign exchange market and is really focused on foreign exchange market news. All right. And then we can get into what's actually going on with the headlines, like what they show on Bloomberg, what's going on with the war with Russia and Ukraine, and, what's going on with oil, because that's a big thing that's going on right now. So give me a quick second to share my screen. First thing we're going to go over is news releases for the foreign exchange market. And again, we're going to myfxbook.com. And you can customize this to, suit whatever it is that you trade. I trade the euro versus the United States dollar. So these three dots right here in the top right-hand corner, you can actually customize what you see. So whatever you trade, just make sure you have it checked off here. And then whatever folders you would like to see, all right? I used to look at orange folders, but I have that turned off. I focus strictly on the red folders now. So I have that turned on. And we have our filtering system set up. All right, so for EU, what's already happened on Monday? We have some positive news for retail sales that happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, and what we have for the upcoming trading day. During the London, we're going to have some red folder news. We have retail sales for EU, and then we have employment change. Of course, that's going to bring some volatility to the market. That's going to be in between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And then at 8:30, we have some U.S. news, balance trade. That's a red folder, some red folder news. And then on Wednesday, we have JOLTS job openings for the United States dollar. And that's all that's happening on Wednesday. All right. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We have red folder news released. Then on Thursday, we have inflation rate news. All right. This is the day to watch out for, really, at least something we can predict, because when it comes to inflation, there is always going to be some type of movement in the market, and that's something that you really want to be looking out for. So on Thursday at 8:30 in the morning, we have core inflation rate and then inflation rate. All right. And then also at 8:30, we have jobless claims, continuing jobless claims, and initial jobless claims. So that's another thing that's going to bring volatility to the market. You have all of this news happening at 8:30. which is also the New York Open. So on Thursday, go ahead and mark this off on your calendar. Definitely want to be careful on this day and just mindful that we have those news releases for the United States dollar. And then on Friday, we don't trade on Fridays, but if you do, we're going to have some news, some red folder news for the pound. The goods trades balance is going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then for U.S. news, we have the Michigan consumer sentiment, and that's going to be at 10 a.m. in the morning on Friday. All right. So what's been going on to the world? What's been going on in the world? Well, let's go ahead and look at the headlines that have been happening or that have been popping up on Bloomberg. Give me a quick second to share this screen. And so on Bloomberg, of course, the biggest headline is going to be Russia. So they're saying Russia threatens to cut gas flows to Europe via the Nord Stream pipeline. Anybody who's trading oil, what would that mean if Russia is cutting oil to Europe? Less supply means what? Higher demand, higher prices. All right, so more than likely with this war, we're going to continue to see oil prices rise, which means U.S. oil is also going to continue to rise. But as we know, financial assets don't just go up without going down a little bit, right? Or having some type of pullback. So we'll look at U.S. oil today and see what would be a logical area to get in for a trade or an investment. As far as what's going on at the moment with the war and the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, Russia is actually, they've called a ceasefire, and I believe they're giving refugees from other countries who are in Ukraine some time to go ahead and get out of Ukraine and flee Ukraine. So that's what's going on currently. But Russia is continuing with the invasion. They're making a lot of progress, and NATO, the United States, is threatening to, just make more sanctions. And something big that happened last week is Putin. He put his nuclear defense team on alert, which means, now we could be getting into nuclear war. All right. Now, whether Ukraine drops the bomb first and say it's in defense, which is what I believe will happen, and then Russia will respond, it's just not going to be good for the environment. It's not going to be good for the world. It's already, a lot going on. I know in America, America is dealing with food shortages right now. The supply chain disruption. It's just a lot going on that we need to be aware of, and just preparing our families and ourselves for it mentally. If you're religious, definitely be praying to the higher power for guidance, because this stuff is getting serious. It's getting serious. It's not. I don't see it de-escalating. All right, let me come off of the share screen. I don't believe that is de-escalating, and I believe that the situation is just going to progressively get worse. So, just like I said, do what you got to do to prepare your family, whatever way that is, and just pray for guidance, pray for patience, and try to be ready for whatever comes. But let's go ahead and get into Markup Mondays and marking up charts. Let me see who's on the call. Sid, welcome. Kiana, welcome. Sid from Akron. Denver from Akron. Christine, welcome. Portland, Oregon in the building. All right. And so we have gold. We have U.S. oil. All right. So gold and U.S. oil. All right. First thing we're going to go over is EU. What happened last week? Welcome to the call, Angel. Toledo in the building. We're going to go over what happened last week with EU, which, like I said, was nothing. But I'm going to explain, my reasoning behind why I did not take a trade last week with EU. JB Bedford in the house. welcome. LDG, Akron, Ohio in the building. Welcome to the call. All right, let's go ahead and get into marking up these charts. All right, so this is the markup for EU last week. Let me make sure everybody can see this. I'm gonna make this full screen. All right, we should be good. So, okay. This is the markup for EU last week. I was expecting, I would have liked to see, or I would have liked to seen a pullback to the daily sell area. Remember, I was expecting a lot of volatility, long targets, and so we marked up this chart on the daily. All right, these yellow lines represent monthly highs and the monthly high and the monthly low. We broke the monthly low without coming up to the daily sell area. We did have a pullback, but it did not come up to the daily sell area, and it fell. All right, and it continued to fall. Now, the way that I trade, psychologically, I've developed, my thought process to not chase price. All right. So if I miss an entry, it doesn't happen and price goes in my direction, I have to see some type of pullback. The market has to do some type of pullback because we do not chase price. Professional traders don't chase price. That is how, for one, that shows lack of discipline. It shows a really a big flaw in your thought process when it comes to trading, and you just don't want to be chasing price because it can turn around on you. And that's what people who just begun trading. That's what people do, when they just started trading. So we don't chase price. We wait for a turnaround, or we wait for it to come to a logical area in the market to turn around from. Which throughout the week, as EU kept falling, I selected a buy area. All right, I selected an area to buy from. I'm going to highlight this. For you. I want to show you this. I want to show you how I'm not always accurate, right? So I selected this area to buy from. And as you can see, it blew through the area. This is on the daily. Now, what I want to do is answer a question that a lot of people always have. When you have areas marked up on the daily, on the 4 hour, or from the higher time frame, how do you decide where to get in, right? How do you decide where to buy? If I'm trying to enter from the daily time frame, then I have to wait for structure to form. All right. The market fell. And if I was expecting to buy from here, from the daily, I have to see some type of structure form. Now, on the daily, what I like to see is a low, a higher low on either side. And then on that fourth candle, I'll start to look for structure. Or I go to the lower time frame and I wait for structure to start to form. If I'm looking for a buy, I want to see a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. And then I may take a chance on it if I believe it's come to a major reversal area or I believe it's oversold. All right, now from the daily, we can see we have, turn these crosshairs off. From the daily, where's my arrow at? Here we go. All right, we have our higher low, we have our lower low, and then we have a higher low that's formed. Now, this just formed 4 hours ago. The new trading day just started at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so this candle hasn't completed. It hasn't formed. All right, so I haven't got this confirmation yet because this could continue to fall below this low. All right, so we have our higher low, we have our lowest low, and then we have a higher low on the other side. Now, what we want to do is drop down to the lower time frame, and we want to start to see structure form. Do we see anything that indicates the market is turning around? I just want to say, I want to see who's on the call and how you guys are viewing the market. Do you see anything? Does anything about this market structure indicate that the market is turning around? You can type yes or no. And I'm interested to hear you guys' feedback on why this is or isn't a form or, indication that the market is turning around? Let's see. Right, Christine says no. This does not look like the market is turning around. Anybody else? LDG also says not yet. All right, so far we have two people who are saying no, this is not an indication that the market is turning around, right? JB, no indication yet. More consolidation. Man, you guys must have a good coach because you are correct. This is not an indication that the market is turning around. So not only do we not have confirmation from the higher time frame because this candle hasn't finished forming yet, we also don't have confirmation from the lower time frame. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to pull out the fib, and I want to use some fib measurements and show you guys how I determine or how I help decide if something is oversold or close to being oversold, right? So let's go over a quick lesson on market structure really quick. All right, so we know an uptrend is a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, right? This is called an extension. And this would be considered a pullback, right? Because we started here, we went up, created a high, we pulled back, and then we extended beyond the last high or previous high that was created, and we created an extension. Now, extensions usually stop or pause or start to retrace. They find the area and they reject, right? But those extensions usually go a certain distance on the fib, and you can find the extension by pulling the high or pulling the fib from the high of the last retracement to the low of the last retracement in an uptrend. All right, that's in an uptrend. In an uptrend, if you pull from the high or the beginning of the last retracement to the bottom of the last retracement, your fib should extend up. All right, and what is considered extremely oversold to me is 200% and beyond. All right, so if we reach 200% on a standard time where we don't have war news, right? We don't have a whole bunch of crazy news going on. The standard is 200. Now, considering that this is wartime and there's going to be more volatility in the market, it could extend beyond that. All right, so let's see how much EU has extended so far as this recent move that is made. Right, what low are we paying attention to? Right, this monthly low down here. That's what got extended beyond. And so on a downtrend, you pull from the beginning of the last retracement or the bottom of the last retracement, and you pull to the top. And as we can see, EU has extended beyond the 161.8 and has almost reached the 200%. And so this is why I don't have an area. Well, we can find an area to sell from, but I don't have an area to buy from at the moment because this could continue down, but it could be turning around as well. So that's why not going to buy, not going to sell. I need to see a couple confirmations. I need to see this candle that's currently forming right now. I need to see it continue up, and I need to see it close above the low that was created by this candle. Or I need to see EU come down and hit either the 200%, the 227, and then again form that three bar pattern. And then I want to see structure form on the lower time frame. All right, so it's really that simple. Really just waiting on EU to show us more structure. As far as a sale, let's go ahead and drop down to the lower time frame again See if we can find structure. All right, guys, honestly, I don't want to sell or take a chance on the sell until we come back up to the monthly low. Is really is that simple. And then the monthly low would be the first area I would take a sell at, which the monthly low is really close to a significant level. All right. This is a whole figure level right here. The numbers are even. And that's also the monthly low. All right, so this is probably going to be a sensitive area. Now the buy area that I'm looking at is also simple, or is also probably going to be sensitive. Let me go ahead and show you guys this. So this is why you got to have different exchanges too. All right, you see this blue area that I have highlighted? If I go to a different exchange, all right, so we're on Wanda right now. Oh, looks like they covered it up there too. All right, so Wanda has this gap covered up. This is a gap right here. And let me go back to what I was looking at before. All right, and this is FXCM. All right, so FXCM did not fill this gap. All right, so I did some back testing and I found out that there's a gap in the market that is very sensitive. All right, because the market gapped here on, this happened April 21st of 2017. After this gap happened, EU ran up for, how many pips is this? Let's see. After this gap, EU ran up for almost 2,000 pips. All right. Came back down to that same area. Came back down to the same area. And shot back up for another 1,500 pips. And now we're approaching that area again. All right. So here's more confirmation for it why I'm not currently taking a buy. A better buy area for me would be down here. If we could come down into this green box right here, we could form some structure. On the daily, we could form some structure. On the lower time frames, I believe that would be a great opportunity to buy a pullback. All right. And then if that doesn't happen, or even if it does, the next area I would like to sell from is the monthly low. Now, the second sell zone are the daily sell zones that we marked up last week. So this would be the second sell area, and this would be the third sell area. But that is it for EU, guys. That's what I got. I would like to see it continue falling, or I would like to see it retrace back to the monthly low. I believe that's going to be a sensitive area. All right. Now let's see what we have next. All right, let's go ahead and head over to U.S. oil first. Let's look at U.S. oil, see what's going on with price and oil. All right, so like we talked about, we have exploded up to about $125 a barrel for U.S. oil. And anybody who was on the sniper gang call, or I believe it was the basics call a couple weeks ago, we discussed this. We discussed going over, different ways to invest in precious metals and oil. And when we were talking about this, oil was at about $90 a barrel. And I said more than likely it's going to jump up to about 120. And that's exactly what it's done. Let me see what's happened in the past as far as structure. Do we have structure to the left to go off of? Yes, we do. So we've came up and we've cleared some highs. So we've taken some liquidity. All right, we've taken some liquidity, which is going to give them more power to move the market, more incentive to move the market in the opposite direction. Let's go ahead and follow the footprint. Where are we currently rejecting from? Because this is where price is currently at, but this is where we got up to. Why are we rejecting so strongly from this area? What evidence is back here? All right, boom. We can, if we follow the anatomy of a candle, all right, we see that we had a pullback, we had an extension. This is the weekly. Remember, this is the weekly now. We had a pullback this week, and then this week we had the push up that broke the previous week's highs. All right, we had another pullback, and then over the next couple of weeks, we broke the previous week's high. We finally came up to the high, and oil just tanked and blew right through an old buy zone, right? And so we're going to go ahead and color code this. We know what this is. Mitigation area. We blew through this and fell, right? And so looking at history, we found evidence. We had some highs that were created below that area. And boom, we came right up to that area and we are strongly reacting off of it. All right, now let's go ahead and drop to the lower time frame and see if we can find a logical area to get in at, for a buy. First area I see, of course, support we have right here. And that happens to be in between price level, let's say 106. And let's call it 110. Let's say 110. $106 to $110 a barrel. I see an opportunity to possibly get in for at least a reaction. All right, let's drop down to the 4 hour, see what kind of structure we got going on. Yep. Second area, like this high right here. And let's just say that's at $100 a barrel. All right, so second buy zone is at $100 a barrel. Let's go ahead and put something here. And the first buy zone is between $106 and $110 a barrel. That's where I see it dropping to. So that's what I see for U.S. oil. I believe U.S. oil is going to continue to rise. We're going to see rising gas prices, probably going to see record prices too, prices that we've never seen before, at least in Ohio. I know California has gotten up to about, is it $7? The highest they got was $7. It was either $5 or $7, but I believe Ohio is actually going to see gas prices, in that range. But that's what I have for U.S. oil. We have two buy zones. I'm not bearish, not looking for any sales. And this is what I see. And I will post this. I'll post this on my page later. All right, next, let's go ahead and go over NZD USD. NZD USD, I never cared for NZD USD because the market structure is like really, it's all over the place. But let's see what it's looking like right now. Let me get some history on it so I don't trade this. All right, and it still looks like it's kind of all over the place. It's kind of consolidating, creating that head and shoulders type of look. Oh, now we create lower highs. The last major high that was broken from the weekly was here. All right, we broke that high. We came back down to the high, came below it, and now we're riding on the top of it. Protected these lows down here. See if we got anything that's close. Definitely want to mark that up. Nope. Poke below. All right. So on the weekly, the last major high was here, and we dipped below it, but we've come back above it. And the candle that pushed it above is this candle here, and the candle that I'm looking at for to close above is this current weekly candle, which is it's going to take 3 more days and 21 hours for this candle to close on the weekly. If we stay above this line though, then we could be looking for some targets upwards, especially with the structure that's forming on the higher time frame. All right, so if this is a pullback, see, boom, did break structure. Pull back to almost a 50%. I got a little more imbalance to fill here. All right, let's start working our way down. All right, of course, make sure we broke structure after that point. Yes, we did. All right, so on the daily, have our first sell zone where we should at least see a reaction. All right, now remember from the daily, if we do come up to this area, I'm not just going to take the trade from the daily. I want to look at it from the lower time frame, and I want to see some type of structure form. If we come up to this area and we get a strong rejection, we form some structure. We have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high, and want to take a chance, and we think it's going to break that lower low, or maybe you want to wait. And this is what I mean. So just imagine we come up to the daily. I want to show you guys an example. We come up to the daily on the higher time frame, and you just see one candle, do a wick, or you just see one candle like this. If I drop down to the 15-minute, what I want to see is this. Boom. That's what I want to see. Now, this would be getting in early. If I decided to get in on this pullback here, this would be getting in early, taking a chance, and just going off my higher time frame analysis. All right. To be getting in and to be a little patient, though, see another break of structure. This is really confirmation. We got a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, and we created another lower high and a lower low. And so now you start looking for sales. All right, and this is the 15-minute from the daily. All right, did we get a clean break of structure here as far as the uptrend? Not really. this could possibly be a poke. All right, so but on the lower time frame, you can see that we have created structure on the way up. We're creating higher highs and higher lows, and we are extending. All right, if you want to take a chance, it's an obvious buy area. Say here. And that's pretty sure if we drop down to a lower time frame, we'll see. Because there is structure here. But keep in mind, this structure is more than likely pulling back to sell off even further. Haven't reached the daily sell zone. Looks like we currently reacting here. But this also looks like it's about to start selling off. Like it's gonna sell further down. I would rather see it with this reaction that it just did. And you always want to look because the market is fractal and it creates patterns and it literally, it does if a market moves a certain way, it continues to move that way. And so with NZD, you see how we had this run up and then we had this strong pullback where it looks like it started to sell and then we just ran up again. All right, this looks very similar. This looks like a smaller version of this. This looks like a smaller version of what happened here. And so I could see this pulling back, possibly buying from where it's at now, but this is where I would like to buy from if I was trading NZD USD. And then here's the daily sell zone I would like to sell from. See what it looks like on the hour. And of course, if I was looking at it from this area or from this time frame, and I believe that it was going to continue selling down, where I would take my sell from would be this area. Put the fib on and see what kind of pullback that would be. And that would be around the 50%, 618 golden pocket area. Did have some structure get broke. We reached the 127 of the extension. All right, so lower time frame, sell zone, but I would have a real tight stop loss on this because it could go either way. So I would place that stop loss right above that high there. And I would only risk probably like 1% or half of 1%, just because we have this structure going up and I have buy areas that I would like to buy from. Sorry, I don't know why my chart just did that. Yep, so that's it for NZD USD. This would be my first sell zone. First 1 hour sell zone. Current buy zone. This is where I believe it's currently buying from. We have a 4 hour buy zone. All right, so that's what I got for NZD USD. How does that line up with what you're seeing, Sid? Okay, will do. I'll send that to the I'll send it to the sniper gang. All right. So NZD USD. Next we have gold versus the United States dollar. All right, this is another one. And I want to show you guys something too with gold. All right, so all right, we have gold. I have something that's already been marked up. Sell zone got blew through. You know, sell zones turn into new buy zones. So let's go ahead and flip this green. We did, even though we blew through the sell zone, I did call out a buy a couple weeks ago. So yeah, 2 markup Mondays ago, I highlighted this purple area here for the buy, and it came down and it hit it like perfectly, and it actually went up for over 1,000 pips. We extended beyond the last high, but this green area, this is going to be the old or the new buy zone for me now. And looking at gold versus the United States dollar. Gold is very, very strong right now. The reason why I know a lot of investors are pouring into gold, and we know why they're pouring into gold because of uncertainty in the markets and war, and gold is used as a safe haven historically. The U.S. dollar is very strong right now. If we look at the U.S. dollar, the U.S. dollar is pretty much going straight up, and it's headed for this high. All right, so the U.S. dollar is strong right now. It's bullish, but gold is also bullish, and we usually don't see this. If the United States dollar is going up, you usually see gold going down, right? This is gold versus the United States dollar, but gold is holding a lot more weight, and despite the value of the United States dollar temporarily increasing, gold is also increasing because the value of gold is a little stronger than the dollar. All right. So even though we're going against the US dollar and the US dollar is rising in strength or gaining strength, gold is continuing to go up because of what's going on in the world right now, fundamentally with news. All right. Sentimentally, a lot of investors are putting their money into safe havens, bonds, all right, oil, and people are even starting to invest a little more in cryptocurrency, even though it's riskier. It's still looked at as somewhat of a safe haven. All right, so gold is on the rise, and I believe this is the next buy zone. All right, this old sell zone, new buy zone. All right, as far as where we could be seeing a rejection, all right, this looks like a case that's similar to U.S. oil, right? Remember, we looked at U.S. oil and we seen where price dropped from. All right, so we'll treat gold the same way, and we'll just pull this zone across. And so here's my rejection area. Here's the area I believe we'll see some rejection. We'll meet some resistance before pushing beyond that last high. All right, so whether we run up to this red area first and drop back down to the green zone, or we drop down to the green zone, the buy zone first, and push up beyond it, I do believe that this high here is going to get cleared. I believe this high is the target. Now, here's what I wanted to show you guys. A lot of people trade gold versus the United States dollar. And so because I trade EU, I do like gold. So I started looking at gold versus the euro dollar, right? All right, so I'm looking at gold versus the euro dollar. And right now we're currently rejecting from a big figure institutional level, but I wanted to show you guys this. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. So we have gold versus the euro, and we've extended beyond the last high, unlike gold versus the United States dollar. All right, so to the left, we have gold versus the euro, and to the right, we have gold versus the United States dollar. And you see the difference. The euro has, the euro or the gold has extended the euro by almost 127%, but gold hasn't really started to surpass the dollar yet as far as the last high. And so, because I trade EU and I know EU is weak against the dollar, I should be expecting gold versus the euro to continue up. All right, we'll probably have some type of a pullback, but I can use my EU analysis with the gold analysis versus the euro as well, and the gold versus the United States dollar, because it's euro versus the United States dollar what I trade, and then I have two golds, right? Gold versus the United States dollar, gold versus euro, and so I can use my analysis with euro USD to kind of find confluence and divergence in these precious metals. So I just wanted to show you guys that what I'm looking at. I'm looking at gold versus the euro dollar. All right. Cut this off. All right, it's 8:53. We might have time for one more. We might have time for one more pair. So we have NZD, USD, gold. We cover oil. All right, and we will look at AU. I got you, Tisha. All right, so let's see. I got both sell zones marked up. Good stuff. We seeing the same thing. Good. First buy zone too. All right. I mean, hey, we got each other's eyes, man. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna send that to the sniper game. So for the last pair, we're gonna mark up AU, the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. AUD USD. I really like the way AUD USD moves. It's similar to EU. It follows market structure really well. All right. Okay, so let's see. Why do I have this marked up like this? Okay. All right, I see. So looking at market structure, guys, we have a high, a low, a lower high. Let's see if we created a lower low. See if it meets that extended 127. So we have a lower low. Of course, we have a lower high. And then we had a poke. And now we've come back above. We've come back above a major high here. All right, so we've broken structure. It isn't quite an uptrend. It's really consolidation because we're within a higher time frame downtrend. All right, we have our highs up here. We have our low. We have our lower high, and then we have our lower low. We have a lower high, and then we have a poke. And after that poke, we ran back above some major structure here. All right, which was also supposed to be a daily sell zone. All right. Never came down to the 4-hour buy zone that we called out. I believe it was last week. It came within a few pips. We came within like 10 pips of that 4-hour buy zone. All right, so that area is still valid, Tisha. I do believe that 4-hour buy zone is still valid from last week. Daily sell zone got blew through, but let's see where we're currently rejecting from. Why? What's the history? Let's retrace the steps. Why is it rejecting from this area so strongly? So we were uptrending, boom, boom. All right, Tisha. So I'm asking you, if this was an uptrend, when we came back down to this area, should we have bought? Should it have bought from this area technically? And so what I believe we're looking at is a mitigation area, which is why we're rejecting from this area. Old buy zones become new sell zones, or failed buy zones become new sell zones, and failed sell zones become new buy zones. Why? Because ceilings become floors and floors become ceilings. And so it looks like from market structure, we've broken 4-hour structure. We can see if we drop down to the 1 hour, we have a low here, and the market just blew through all of this. All right. Now it looks like we're starting to pull back. I don't see AU recovering immediately from this drop that it's had. And so my eyes are on these downside targets, this 4-hour buy zone, and I would like to see it sell. I will be looking for sales in the upcoming, days in the upcoming session. And so just like, I feel like I was just looking at this somewhere. I believe it was NZD USD. Yeah, it was NZD USD. So we've extended almost to the 161.8. And so, yeah, I would like to see this retrace. And the first sell zone would be this area here. All right, boom, first sell zone. So we did have structure. All right, we know this is a mitigation area, but let's color code this so we know. This red zone was a previous sell zone, so this is also a mitigation area. Boom. All right, so we got our first sell zone. Second sell zone. All right, T. So we created a lot of imbalance on the way down here. And so I will be targeting that imbalance and the sell zones above it. The sell zones are only 30 pips apart. So if the first sell zone fails, I will go for the second sell zone, stop loss above the high. Because if it goes beyond this high, then more than likely it's just going to continue up from where it dropped down to. All right, but like I said, I do see it coming back down to this buy area. So, yeah, so that's what I got for AU. And that's gonna wrap it up for the call. It's 9:01, y'all. I'll send those markups to the chart, or to the chat, and I'll also post them on my page. But I was sitting there thinking while I was marking up the chart, it was quiet. What you guys think about playing music during the markup portion of the call? What you guys think about playing music? Not enough where it's blocking me out and you can't hear me, but just enough where you can hear it in the background. What y'all think about that? Like, drop a 1 for if we should add a playlist to Markup Mondays during the markup portion of the call. Drop a 2 if no. Drop a 1 if we should. Drop a 2 if we shouldn't. I just want to see what y'all think. All right, so far we've got ones, ones. All right, bet. He said the rooster in the background, straight for real. Yeah, man. Every morning, never fails, like clockwork, literally. All right, so it's a done deal. We gonna come up with some type of way to play music during the call. What I want you guys to do, if you have playlists, feel free to email or inbox me those playlists. If you in the chat, go ahead and drop your playlist inside the chat, or send me a couple songs that you would like to hear play in the background on Markup Mondays. And so we'll go off of that. We'll go off of everybody's playlist that's tuning in to the call. Go ahead and send me you guys playlists, or send me a couple songs that you would like to hear. I thought I heard that too. Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna come through the mic. I got the mic on today. I didn't think the mic was gonna pick that up. She said I did, but I didn't say anything. Yeah, man, that thing be going off every morning like clockwork. Yep. But that wraps it up. That wraps it up for Markup Mondays. I hope everybody got value from the call. I'm gonna post those charts on my page, and then I'm also gonna go ahead and drop that in the Sniper Gang chat. Thank you all for tuning in. Love you all. I will see you in this. For my students, I will see you in the chats on the charts, and for everyone else, I will see you where I see you, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in. This call wouldn't be anything without you all. All right. I will catch you all in the chats on the charts, and remember to stay safe, but stay dangerous. Peace.